together. It is documenting and documenting it well and storing it well. But now tech has come in to just help us in ease of documenting and storage and even retrieval. Long are the days when we used to like have heaps of files that when you want to like retrieve any document, you used to take time and time and time and time to go through a pile of huge files just to get one piece of paper. Right now, we can actually get it at the click of a button. And without further ado, I won't delve into much so that I can also leave the meat of the discussion to our speaker for the day, who happens to be a well-celebrated person in the digital arena, and his name is Coach Kelvin Waga. So if anyone has a chance to go through Coach Kelvin Waga's LinkedIn, you've seen that he's not only a digital marketing expert, he's also a business coach and a trainer. He's also a business and brand strategist. He's also a humanitarian. And one thing we have in common, he's also a champion for mental health wellness. So, sorry about that. So Coach is also well known in the digital arena, and he is celebrated to have just mentored a few of the celebrated people in the digital marketing and digital communication center. He is actually the best person to take us through what tech has done for HR and what tech is also yet to do for HR. So karibu sana, Coach. I don't know if you are able to unmute.
Oh, thank you very much, Anne, for that wonderful presentation. And I think you've taken all the meat. I'm only left with the bone to chew.
Please, Nelson, don't fire me. But I have a few questions for you just to help us just delve deeper into these key aspects that promotes productivity and just seamless, just promotes productivity in organization. So Coach, allow me to ask you my first question. So what are the key considerations that we as HR practitioners can use in order to implement remote working as far as communication is concerned?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So, as you've been seeing online, I'm always all about mental health and healthy working relationships. And if there's one thing that COVID-19 taught us is that right now we don't have to be in the office physically. We can work remotely. And working remotely, that brings me just to define what digital communication first is. When we talk about digital communication, it's just exchange of information or data in a digital format between two or more devices or parties. So digital communication is playing a huge role in even in the HR sector. And there are several considerations that one can actually consider if they want to succeed in that field. Number one, I'll talk about level of literacy between your staff, because you'll find that in most organizations, people are different. And when I talk about difference, we have the Gen Zs, we have the young people who are the .coms, we have the old guys, and we have the pro and we have the pro techie guys, those guys that maybe have been in the sector for so long, and maybe they went through the process of analog. So digital came later on. So we have to consider their digital, their literacy in terms of using the digital digital platforms or digital services in communication. Number two, we should also availability of networks. Also in an organization, you'll find that there are people who have internet maybe at their home places. There are people who are working with bundles. There are people who are working with maybe a subscription, or there are people who have to either go to a public place in access of this data. So when you are looking into this, we need to consider, because there are some of the factors that influence. Let's take, for an example, you're supposed to be having a meeting at 2, and then you're supposed to be having a meeting at 2, and then you find that maybe party A or an employee A does not have internet access. He'll be missing a lot, especially if it is crucial. The next point is clear communication channels. And when you talk about clear communication channels, let's take, for an example, we are having this meeting on Zoom. But when you get to some places, or maybe in some other organization, maybe they use Google Meet, they use Microsoft Teams, and all these other channels. So when we talk about maybe the clear communication channels, is it that every person working in that organization has access to that particular, is it that the person working in that organization has the particular channel of passing or receiving that information? So I don't want to mention, maybe the last thing I can mention is cybersecurity. When you talk about cybersecurity, cybersecurity measures can protect sensitive data and maintain the integrity of digital communication tools. So you'll find that digital communication, as we know, we can use digital communication to enhance HR services, but you'll find that some organization might use the employees or their staff's data maybe to bully them, follow them what they are posting. Because let's say, for example, if I don't like the company I'm working for, and yet I have to be objective in what I'm saying online, you'll find that it will be very difficult for me to be objective in posting what I want to post on my personal profile. So cybersecurity measures is whereby maybe there's infringement of their privacy and stuff. Thank you. Over to you.
Wow, you have brought in a key aspect that is taking center stage in all our discussion. That is the aspect of cybersecurity and data protection. In your experience and in your own, let's say, opinion, where do you think we as HR practitioners go wrong when it comes to policies touching on cybersecurity and also policies touching on data protection? Over to you, Coach.
Okay. When we talk about cybersecurity, you'll find that this includes using secure and encrypted channels, setting up strong password, enabling two-factor authentication, and educating team members about best practices for online security. I've had one case of one employee who was working for their organization, and she wanted to start her own side hustle. So on the part, she was using a personal profile to market the side hustle that she was partaking. But you realize that the organization that they were working for did a background study on the kind of posting that she was doing, to an extent that she was even subjected. She was given an option of either to work for the company or leave. So these are some of the protections that I can say employers, in a way, sometimes they go wrong. They tend to go overboard in accessing their personal data. Let's take, for an example, like Nelson says, I think we first met when we were amateur teachers some years back, I think a decade ago. You'll find that as we grow, there are some interests that we get to develop along the way. And as the saying goes, you cannot dry where you've bathed. That is a Luo saying, that you cannot dry where you've bathed. You'll find that as you grow, you'll enhance and you'll develop passions along the way. But you'll find that in some situations whereby organizations are subjecting maybe their staffs to submit their social media platforms, there are some who goes even ahead to request for the passwords of their fellow employees. And also when you talk about that, when you talk about the emailing, like when you're using the domain email services, being that the organization has the access maybe to the kind of emails that you share outside there, you lack that kind of privacy in the kind of communication maybe that you maintain between you and your clients or between you and your prospect, because they'll be monitoring each and every step that you make. So there are a lot of ways that we've gone overboard as employers when it comes to infringing the employees, are infringing the kind of guys we work with. And this can be changed, as in this can be taken care of, whereby we define clear lines that, yes, you're working for us, but apart from working for us, you have personal life that you can, out of office, you have the personal life for the family and other stuff. So you are not confined, or you are not subjected to maybe living the office life even when you go back home, because we also we all have our community. We all have online community where we converge and share like-minded ideas. But if what I am to share is going to touch my organization in a negative way, you'll see that I'll be subjected maybe to go into a spiral of silence. Thank you.
Oh, wow. If only employers could listen to you and understand the aspect of work-life balance, and there's always life beyond the normal workspace. So another aspect, HR is all about human, putting the human first. And actually of late, there's been a call for human-centered leadership, human-centered HR practices. How can we as HR practitioners not let tech come in between the humaneness and just what we do on a day-to-day? Over to you, Coach.
Please come back. Pardon?
Tech is arguably, okay, it's arguable that tech brings about the aspect of removing the humanness, the human and the social touch that we as human beings have. So as HR practitioners, what can we do so that the aspect of humanity in our practices is not eroded by tech? I don't know if now I'm clear.
Yes, you're clear. I think I was just asking for a sabbatical minutes to take a sip of water, though I got you the first time.
Yeah.
So number one is regular communication from leadership. With the advent of tech, I'll give a case example whereby there are these bosses who rarely talk to their employees. And if there's any communication to be made, it will be made either through a WhatsApp group, a message, or it can be made through maybe an email. But this can be broken down whereby we have regular communication from leadership. So regular communication from leadership, we can also utilize the digital communication channels to share message, insights from leadership, especially what is going down, because mental health in an organization or mental well-being starts when communication tends to break. And having worked in so many of you, an email to my subordinates, or if my subordinate wants to ask me something, they'll do an email maybe to their immediate supervisor, all the way following that chain, or the red tape to maybe the top leadership. But this can be broken down. Yes, we can embrace the digital communication techies, but still we can still maintain the regular communication. So what I meant first is, let's take for example, there's a misconception, like I normally say, organization or employers might not be in a position to increase salaries for employees. But you find that these employees, they are working so hard and they are seeing maybe they are bringing in customers, they are closing sales, yet they cannot see the benefit of what they are doing. So you'll find that these guys will be like, yes, we are doing so much for our employer and our employer is not paying us. The employer will be, the money that I receive from the sales that these people bring, I reinvest it back in the business and just to broaden and make my business bigger. But because the organization does not communicate regularly with the staff, or that there's no that flow chain of communication. If there's communication maybe within an organization, you'll find that it's either the senior managers who meet, but after that, the junior employees or the junior junior employees in that organization does not get that. So we can still maintain, even with the advent of tech, maybe digital tech, we can still embrace that kind of regular communication. Maybe this is a top bottom up, like two-way traffic, to undergo, like to cut that conception or misconception that maybe there is no regular communication. Number two, we can have virtual team building activities. Who says that if we are techies, we cannot have maybe activities maybe to psych up employees or to psych up the kind of workforce that we have? We can organize maybe virtual team building activities to foster maybe social connection among employees. These can include happy hours, online gaming, competition, a virtual coffee break, or team challenges. This encourages employees to facilitate interaction that go beyond work-related discussion. The next one is recognition and appreciation. We use we can use the digital communication to bring back that human aspect through use of digital communication tools to publicly recognize and appreciate employees' achievement. Who says that when I'm working for this organization or when I'm working for an organization X, whether I'm doing good, other parties don't need to know that I'm really pushing forward, maybe to help my organization grow. So if you can use maybe the digital text, as in the digital text, maybe to promote and also appreciate these employees online or even physical or whatever way we can, whereby we just call them to share their success stories, comment their peers, or showcase their work. Then we have wellness initiative and resources. We can leverage maybe learning among the people that we work with. We have share wellness tips, resources for exercising our mindfulness. And then maybe finally online learning and development, whereby we offer digital platform on learning management systems where employee can access trainings and development resources. Then the final point on that I can say is employee resource groups. So we can facilitate the formation of virtual employee resource group to that are focused on the diversity and inclusion of initiative. So with ERGs, we can come up maybe with activities or challenges to foster that human aspect in the workplace that we are in. So it doesn't mean that if we are working techies, maybe if you're working for home, we still don't have that human, as in that family kind of concept within the offices that we work for. Thank you.
Wow, Coach, it's actually interesting that you mentioned virtual team building activities, and you mentioned gamification as one of the strategy. We actually had a session some 3 weeks back on gamification, and we got to learn more, and even Nelson got to take us through practical examples of gamification. So thank you so much for that. The other aspect I'd like to hear from you, hear your expert opinion, is the aspect of organization culture. How can we use tech to promote organization culture? Over to you, Coach.
Okay, thank you. I would have really loved to be part of where Nelson was taking you through gamification, because if there's one thing I know about Nelson, he has 2 left foots. So next time, maybe we go for those coffees. please invite me so that at least I can come with one right foot.
I used to be an athlete, so don't forget that.
So I don't know. I've joked. Okay, I'm back there. So sorry, Nelson.
I used to be an athlete back in the days.
After we are participants, we've all been participants, some of us looking forward to graduate. So please, as much as you'll be a participant graduating, you'll also be.
But you take it up. Sorry for that. Someone on the background, yes. Take it up.
Okay, sorry for that. So Coach, I had asked you about organizational culture and tech. How can we use tech to promote these very vital aspects in organizations?
So yeah, we can have open communication channels. That is number one, whereby we create digital communication.
It allows you to really.
Sorry for that. Nelson, you're on it.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Proceed. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can have open channels whereby we create digital channels where employees can express their ideas, concern, or feedback openly. This can be done through maybe online suggestion box, anonymous surveys, dedicated discussion forums. Then this can encourage employees maybe to share their perspective and actively listen to their feedback and demonstrating that and that their opinions are valued. One of the key challenges that that maybe affect organization, even in 8 to 5 an office setup, there's always lack of feedback. If there's something new that is to be implemented maybe in an organization, we'll have a meeting, we'll discuss, and we'll come up with measures. But you'll realize that always the measures get spiked immediately. People leave their meetings. So we maybe organization can take this advantage and open up these communication channels whereby employees can just be raising their concerns, employees can be raising feedback. When I raise a concern and my concern gets addressed, you'll find that I'll feel valued and I'll keep on opening my channels or my mind to new things that organizations are taking. We can have virtual mentorship and networking programs. So establish virtual mentorship programs where employees can connect with their mentors or mentees across different teams or levels. So we can use digital tools to facilitate this connection and provide guidance and building relationships. So that is another way. We have virtual town hall meetings, conduct virtual town hall meetings, maybe where employees have the opportunity to engage with leadership, ask questions, and participate in discussion. Then we have a social intranet and collaboration platform. So we can implement social intranet and collaboration platforms that enables employees to connect, share knowledge, and collaborate across all teams and departments. This platform provides spaces for employees to engage, discuss, and share ideas. So maybe by use of maybe WhatsApp groups, by use of maybe Facebook groups, there's a way within an organization, there's a way that we can use this social intranet, like within the organization, we just come up with a chatting platform where employees can maybe exchange ideas, where employees can exchange ideas, have fun, and do such things. Then we can also, by leveraging on these digital communication tools effectively, organization can strengthen their company culture, promote employee well-being, and create a sense of belonging. So if we merge this point with just the points that I discussed earlier, we'll find that the key thing that brings about the organization culture is communication and feedback. So if we can leverage these techniques to enhance that communication and feedback, you'll find that it will be easier for the smooth flow, and maybe the employees won't see as if maybe the organization is too much on them, and maybe the leadership will also not see the vice versa. Maybe the employees are wasting time. So communication is key. What happens maybe within our families when we get homes? We are living in a digital age where everybody is on phone, and you find that nowadays kids get to suffer a lot. And when I talk about suffering, this is whereby there's no one to help this young one maybe do their homework, because everyone is maybe accessing their phones, and you find it very difficult even when they ask your mom, ask your dad, ask your mom, ask your dad. And if we can eliminate that from maybe the organization setup, we are virtual, but still we can maintain the communication and keep the feedback. We'll still keep the culture.
Okay. So how can we measure the effectiveness of digital communication tools?
This can be measured in several ways. This can be measured in several ways. Number one is by giving how do I call them? By giving targets. By giving targets to maybe our employees, whereby there are specific targets that these people are supposed to meet. That is number one. Number two, we can measure this by the level of development, because you'll see, maybe for an example, with maybe the emergence of AIs and the virtual assistants and all such kind of stuff, you'll find that it might be very difficult to managing remote team dynamics. So digital communication tool can present challenges in remote meeting dynamics. So what do I mean by this? If we have maybe clear rules, as in clear outline, clear policies that define whether the employees is working from home remotely or whether the employees come to the office, to ensure that the policies are adhered to. And if there is maybe a task that was issued, it can be seen maybe in terms of the return on investment and such. Number two, we can use maybe the system. When I talk about the system here, we have the system analytics. This can tell you the performance of maybe the leadership, the performance of the management, and even the performance of employees. So whereby we utilize this data to see when, let's take for an example, we've decided to divide ourselves into teams. So through these data analytics, we can analyze and see which team is performing and which team is not performing. And even through use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, we can also get to see, because after all, nobody opens up a business to fail. You'll find that most of us open up a business with a mentality that they want maybe to succeed. When we talk about succeeding, you'll find that if the organization is achieving its own goal, it will be easier maybe for both of the teams. Let's take for an example, there's this maybe a team working tech known as a Hansa. A Hansa is whereby several employees can be working on a specific maybe document, and then each employee is assigned a particular task. So when you finish that task, you're supposed maybe to be marking somewhere completed. So I don't need to call Anne and ask, have you finished your work? I'll just go through this particular system to evaluate whether you are working or not. Yes.
Okay, so those are quite, that's quite clear on how we can measure the effectiveness of digital communication. So Coach, let's talk about the emerging trends in digital communication. You've rightfully mentioned AI and such. So what other things should HR practitioners be aware of as far as digital communication is concerned? Over to you.
Yeah, so number one, the one I've just mentioned, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning, whereby AI and machine learning technologies are increasingly being used in digital communication tools to automate processes, enhance personalization, and improve efficiency. So AI chatbots and assistants can handle HR routines, provide employee support, and streamline HR workforce. So when you talk about these, the one that we are all aware of is Zuri by Safaricom. You'll find that nowadays, Zuri has taken charge of some of the responsibilities or some of maybe the task of the customer service that they are doing overnight, because they immediately you get to maybe send a message to Safaricom, automatically you'll get that kind of feedback that you're looking for. So we have collaborative and integrated platforms. So when you talk about collaborative and integrated communication platforms, which are really gaining popularity, bringing togetherness, as in together various communication tools and featuring into a single unified interface. So this platform enables seamless communication, collaboration, document sharing, management, among all. So they streamline it, as it was to streamline the HR workflow and enhance team productivity. So that is another one. The next one we have mobile and remote communication. So mobile communication has become rampant in today's economy, and it's continued to grow as the days go by. So HR professionals should consider mobile-friendly communication tools and platforms to cater for these for their teams. When you talk about mobile communication, instead of carrying maybe my heavy desktop from the office or maybe carrying my laptop, the organization or the HR professionals can introduce where maybe the working tablets or even the high-tech mobile phones to enhance maybe the communication, to enhance time tracking, management, and even performance evaluation. And that I've seen in many organizations whereby employees are being provided by phones, maybe by others, maybe techs that can help them perform these duties even when they are home. We have virtual conferencing and virtual meetings. In the past, it was a must that if you were to attend a meeting, it was a one-on-one. But if there's one thing that COVID-19 taught us, that you don't need to be in the office physically to have a meeting. Video conferencing and virtual meetings is one of some of the emerging trends which has been adopted and which needs to be adopted more. We find that during those times, Zoom was Zoom took advantage of that, because at that time they were the only, they were among the top of the virtual video conferencing service provider that we could use. So that is also an emerging trend. We have employees experience platform. So employees experience platform focus on enhancing the overall employee experience by centralizing communication, collaboration, and engagement. This platform often include features like employees feedback, recognition that we were talking about maybe in the above questions that we tackled. So if we can have this platform where employees can air in their maybe their views, you'll find that just maybe a single tweet by maybe an irate customer or maybe an irate employee can cause an organization maybe a huge damage online. So we need to get this feedback so that we ensure that we talk. Sorry to joke on this, but we saw yesterday the CS of, I think he's called Charles Hinger. He had to sweat a lot. And I don't think if his boss was so happy with him, because I know when you lie, sometimes even words get out of your mouth and you're left maybe trying to guess things and here and there, and you could hear a lot of, yes, we need this, we need the other one. Then something that I've also seen is data analytics and insights. For you to know where you're going, you need to keep this data. But even the challenge that even we as communicators are facing is we have the data, but we don't make good use of the data that we harness. Let's take, for example, speaking for myself, I know maybe I'm selling to this particular audience. I have their data, I have their age, I have their maybe the preferences in terms of male and female and all such kind of that. But I'm not utilizing this data maybe to help me enhance my services. So data analytics and insights maybe is also an emerging trend when it comes to HR. And I'm very happy that Nelson is really doing, I saw him doing a lot on that, maybe to help maybe fellow HRs to grow. Then we have virtual realities and augmented realities. So when we talk about VR and AR technologies, these are evolving rapidly and offer exciting possibility for HR professionals. They can be used for virtual training, simulators, and all such kind of things. Then we have blockchain in HR. So blockchain technology is being explored for HR applications such as identification, credentialing, and all such kind of things. And then we have data privacy and security. So I think those are some of the things I can mention, but they are more like voice and language processing, and they keep on. We love, as the time goes, you'll find that the new trends keep on emerging. Thank you.
Oh, wow, that is quite informative and well articulated. And before I take on questions from the audience, I don't know, Nelson, do you have any more questions to ask Coach or anything to tell the audience? And team, please feel free to ask any questions. You can raise your hand or type your question in the chat and we'll be able to attend to it. Nelson, over to you.
Yes, this is an amazing one, and I'm really learning a lot. I came here empty, but I think now I have a lot of things that I can talk about when it comes to digital communication. So just to maybe just add in something that currently, for those of us who are using Microsoft Teams, did you know that Teams can now do you minutes of your discussions? As you discuss, you don't even need to take notes. You can actually take notes on your behalf and will give you back. So something has come up just when Coach Kelly was talking about AI. And currently, it is very easy that as you have your meetings, even Outlook can now even summarize for you details that if you had a trail with Bahati and I want to book a meeting, it will even suggest to me that I need to have a meeting, what we're calling the co-pilot in Microsoft. So things are changing over digital communication, and we need to update ourselves. But now I wanted to ask on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, these things have come up and then even influencing how we even view our workspaces, because we see even sometimes I wish like I would take some videos and post on TikTok as I work. Yeah. So how are these tools also affecting our digital communication, even in our workplaces? And what is the etiquette that we need to have on these platforms? Yes, Kevin, I think that's what I will have.
Oh, thank you. As we continue to maybe get these questions, if you've not followed me maybe on my LinkedIn profile, you can get there and get to know what I'm talking about. So it's Coach Kelvin Welder.
And let me share the link to your account.
Oh, okay, I will.
Yes.
Nowadays, with the emergence of platforms, let me talk about LinkedIn to be precise, not LinkedIn, but TikTok. You'll find that there's this thing called TikTok Live. And TikTok Live is doing a lot of harm when it comes to working in our environment, because I want to work and I want to be live at the same time. So you'll find that kind of distraction. So there are people who camp on TikTok lives, especially I've seen even employees, I've seen the news presenters, like they're doing their job, but on the sides, they're doing the TikTok lives. And it's a very big distraction when it comes to our output. So we need to have an etiquette. And I think there are nations which are trying to maybe ban such platforms. because they are distracting the employees. People have been told that they can make some extra income. Let's take for I'll speak specifically on TikTok. So you'll find that maybe Abat is having a presentation somewhere, and because she wants to show that, oh, I'm good at presenting, she won't give 100%. She'll be giving somebody the phone. Please take me a video live. Yes, live. Oh, my online fans. So there'll be a lot of distraction. So one thing I can say that maybe the HR should come up with a platform on how to differentiate between work and TikTok, because I've seen so many people get affected. And when I talk about affected, you'll find that let's take for somebody is doing sales, maybe in somebody's in real estate industry. This person is like, oh, we are selling land, keep tap the screen. Oh, we are selling land, you send gifts. So when the employer comes, why are you on TikTok? Oh, I'm just pitching to clients online. But on the sites, you'll see tap the screen, guys, tap, follows, what, such kind of sentiments, which brings distractions, even the people that work there. And we have platforms like Facebook, we have platforms like TikTok. You'll find, yes, I talked about having a personal image, as in differentiating your personal life from the work ethic. But you'll find that there are some things that we do. One day I was suffering from insomnia, and I happened to branch by TikTok just to at least get some little fun before I got to sleep. So what happened is, as I was browsing, I was to meet a client the following day. Guess what I saw? The client that I was to meet, I saw there maybe giving numbers and telling people, oh, send me 200 shillings. And they were using some profane language. Allow me use it in quote because we are all adults here. You send 200 shillings kunyonga. You see, I had a different perspective of this client, and I had to cancel the meeting the following day, because what kind of a person was I going to meet? They say the things you do when nobody is watching are the things that define you. So let's take for example, today I get to TikTok and I meet Bahati there with maybe doing such kind of things. The next time I have a conversation with her, I'll see that this is a person who doesn't respect themselves. So we have to have that line and know, where do I have to cross? It's either you resign your job, you become maybe an influencer and do all such kind of things, so that we know you, that maybe Coach Kelvin, whatever he does there is does things like massage by Steve and post all such kind of content, or does all such kind of profane things that happen. So if we can get to have policies that limit what we can do, it doesn't prevent you from living your personal life, but out of the office, I use somebody who maybe other customers would like to associate with. Because we tend to assume that when you are online, you tend to assume that maybe I've blocked all the people that are following me, so nobody will get to meet me there. But you never know who you meet. You will meet when you're online. Thank you.
Coach, I've seen a question from our friend Simon from Tanzania. What do we do? You know, not everyone, we are not at par when it comes to digital literacy. So what do we do to those employees who don't have like advanced abilities for technology is a problem?
One of the challenges we face with this digital age is resistant to change. Nobody likes to change. And we normally believe that the way we are doing, or the way our life is at that moment, is perfect. We grow by learning. And when I talk about growing by learning, I can remember when the Android phone came, there's a certain category of maybe the elderly people that were struggling to handle these devices. But because with time they said, no, those things, they had several excuses of embracing those devices. But with time, you find that they got used to it. And right now, even if you are old guys back home wants you to buy them a phone, watakwambia like, usitubaye ile ya kufinya, tubaye ile ya kuguza. So what do I mean is, even at our own workplaces, we are here to change, because in the past, let me take for an example, let me pick churches. Some of the churches were preaching against online preaching, and they were saying that is not the way to do things. It was satanic by then. But then with the change, it came, and the churches that had embraced the digital communication, it was easy for them to maybe move with the flow. But these ones that were having issues by then, it became difficult. Some of them locked doors, but it was so unfortunate, especially, let me use this, sorry if there's men of cloth in this house. There are some of us pastors who maybe we rely on the sadaka, maybe to get something to eat or to move on with our life. But if this was locked to us, you find that everybody transitioned to online. So when we talk about communication and utilization, when we talk about the question has gotten lost. Yeah, technology. With time, the good thing with technology is when you can learn bits and bits of information or bits and bits on how it works. Let me give you, for an example, a system. If there's an organization I was working for, and they abolished maybe the paperwork in the office. So if you wanted to apply for leave, you had to go through a system, maybe do your application there and send. And what these people, some of the guys, they rejected the change, and they said, that one we can't. We just want it the hard way because it's easier to fill in that form and hand it there. Then they were told, if that is the case, then there will be no leave days for you, and will count as if you've gone for the leave days. You'll find that this motivated these guys, and within a short period of time, they were able now to get to learn the system, maybe ask for an advance, maybe apply for the leaves and all such kind of stuff. So when you talk about maybe a limit when it comes to their technological know-how, I tend to believe that you can learn bit by bit, and you can get people within your community, maybe your workplace, to take you through that bit by bit. But through repetition, you'll get to embrace, and you'll see how enjoyable it is.
You've put it quite well. I wouldn't add anything on it. So we have one more question on digital communication utilization and career growth. How do these two relate?
How do you relate digital communication utilization
and career growth?
I'm trying to relate the two. How do you relate digital communication utilization in relation to career growth? Yes. When you talk about digital communication to career growth, it is very paramount. And when you talk about paramount is, sorry also to use this example, like Bahati, I studied communication and media, and then I majored in public relation and broadcast media. But then I left campus because I had second class upper division. I was so sure I was going to get a job. So everywhere where I went for maybe for an interview, the first thing I could throw outside there was, I'm a graduate with a second class upper division in public relations, and I'm a communicator. But then you realize that what I learned in campus was not what was being practiced outside, because when you get maybe to the career path, you'll find that a lot of things keep on changing. So digital communication is key. And how is digital communication key? This is by enhancing the skill sets that you have to match the particular job market that you are operating in at that particular time. There's an emergence of something we call nowadays. In the past, employers really they really focused on maybe the physical CV, or maybe the CV and the resume. But right now, there are things that are called the ATS CVs. There are people, like you have your profile. Somebody can use your digital profile maybe to get your CV. So if you want to grow in your career path, you must be ready to embrace the digital communication, because digital communication is not only confined into the HR sector, but it affects our life in a 360. We have freelancing, because like I told you, I've been a communicator, then I graduated to marketing, then I graduated to sales, then right Nowadays, I talk about HR things. And through this, some of these things, I learned them online through digital communication. So digital communication and career growth are toes on toes. And allow me give this an example. When it comes to digital communication and career growth, you'll find that nowadays, many people prefer those people who maybe have done a diploma in something or a certification in something, as compared to somebody who has a degree and a master's on it. Because when it gets maybe to the interview, it's nowadays practical. And if you've not embraced this kind of things, you'll get to meet things in an interview. Let's take for an example, you are dealing with data analytic tools. You've been given that now to analyze and give a report on the same. You'll be like, oh, what are these people saying? I think this one I was not taught, and you'll get embarrassed. Thank you.
So yes, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Digital communication and career growth, why you can't do without the other. So looking at the time now, we are 4 minutes past our scheduled time. So you'll allow me to hand over the mantle back to Nelson to wrap up the session, and yes, to tell us the next steps and maybe mention the supporters for this session one more time. So Nelson, over to you. Nelson, are you still with us?
And
yes,
I have been here listening to all of us as we communicate, as we learn digitally. So even whatever we're doing now is digital communication. And I believe that the content has been passed through digital communication, and we are together with this. So thank you first to Kevin. You have been amazing, and I think we've not engaged to this length on our day-to-day operations. Yeah, I want to believe so. It's long since we engaged on this kind of a platform. And thank you for that. And thanks to Anne for taking your time also. I know you're just coming from another class and coming to Tech Talk. That's how committed you are to this. And to our participants who have always been with us here and keeping us engaged, because without you, then we could not be having these sessions. So just to share with us that we have WorkPay, HRMates, FinClock, Paragon Brasility have joined that. Paragon People Solution and Brasility have also joined the group of partners by also just ensuring that we have these sessions for free. And I say that if you're looking for a HR system at a discounted rate, then just call WorkPay. You can view them online, or you can call me and connect you to them. And once you get there, just tell them that you are looking for a system and use the word Tech Talk, then they'll give you a discount. The discount now will depend with how good can you negotiate, but there is something already discounted for you by just being part of the Tech Talk. So get down to it and understand more. Also to invite us for our coffee date, which is here with us. And we're inviting all of us to be there with us on 9th June. And you can see people that you'll be meeting. And I want to ask Kevin also to join us, because this is a good place that you've taught us about digital communication, but so also join us so that we can tell you about physical communication also as you move forward. You touched something about CVs and how the CV should look like. And actually we are moving towards a digital CV. And apart from just the current CVs being an ATS kind of, then we're also having JCVs. JCVs is around here, and J does CVs that are ATS enabled. So if you are looking for proper CV to take to the interview table, see, past interview table, now you cannot influence anything. It's now you and your papers and what you have. So JCVs does CVs that are ATS compliant, meaning whatever is there in the ATS, they can bypass it. So get in touch with him and your CV will be looking nice. He has done a lot of CVs, and the guys he has worked with have good true testimony to it. I saw Jellican. Jellican has been our moderator for other few sessions, and Jellican has been present here. And just allow me to mention also some of the guys who have been here with us from the word go. Kina Georgette, Kina Boniface, Kina Flo, Evelyn Oliech was actually here with Liz Sharon, were the first people to join us today. So welcome, and I thank you more. Let's continue these discussions and let's engage more and more on this platform so that we can learn. Let us learn, because HR is the learning get to other employees. So if you don't learn, then there's a problem. If now your commercial team comes to that, they want to go and learn about TikTok, then you come and ask, okay, I've learned about TikTok. So what different do you want to bring? Was it part of digital communication so that you better understand? So let us be the gateway of the learning and let us continually learn. With those many remarks, thank you all, and hope to see you next week, where we'll be discussing about the gaps that you might be having in your contracts and how can digital or technology help you close on those gaps in time. Remember, Kenya, you wake up tomorrow, what was correct today is now wrong tomorrow. Or what was wrong today is tomorrow ratified to be right or to be correct. So there's a system that has already been developed that you just upload your contract there. It will just filter out and tell you that whatever you're having in this clause is already off the grid. So please join us and let us learn more on how to be upbeat in HR. Thank you all and have a good evening. Now to the best part of Jellica. You can unmute and tell us goodbye in your own language, and I will allow Jellican to take up this part. He really enjoys and he makes it better. Thank you.
Good night, people.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Anne Bahati, for that very eloquent presentation by trying to interrogate